ball over the top. Torres is there. It's in! Ronald Kyoto! CF Montreal. They win their 5th Voyagers Cup.
And it's Blackman on his right! Champions again! Vancouver wins the Battle of the North! Out to the top of his box, Sirwa, but he makes a mess of it! Brian White with the gift! Vancouver emerge victorious again! They are once again the class of Canada!
Tonight, the 17th edition of the National Championship begins. 14 teams to start, only one will remain standing. The first matchup to kick things off is Cavalry hosting Vancouver FC. It's a single elimination game. Only one team tonight will carry on their journey in the 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship. And that is what you are watching right now here on One Soccer. Hello, Canada. Annie Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. We are ready for the 17th edition of the TELUS Canadian Championship. And these two teams last year had disappointing showings. For the first time ever, Cavalry eliminated in the preliminary round. That was on penalty kicks at the hands of Pacific. Vancouver FC, they were competing for the very first time in the Canadian Championship. They lost 1-0 to York. When you look at the history, it's a long history. It's still one that has been captured, this title, mostly by Major League Soccer teams. We know Forge FC was a runner-up in that 2020 year against Toronto FC. Toronto FC owning the most titles. And here's the thing, Vancouver Whitecaps, they're looking to join that exclusive cup with Toronto FC as the only teams to win 3 in a row. Vancouver Whitecaps have won the last 2. They, of course, have gotten a bye to the quarterfinal, being the champion. CF Montreal was in the final there. Those are the 2 MLS teams that await the preliminary round team. So, single knockout, preliminary, 2-match series in the quarterfinal, semifinal, one and done. Winner take all in the final. So this is pretty exciting. By the way, second straight year that 14 teams are competing. So we're seeing this grow. What does that mean, by the way, for someone who personally competed in this tournament?
I mean, I shouldn't just say everything, but it kind of does mean that. I think this is just so important to the game. When I'm looking at driving on the Gardiner, back when there was more than 2 lanes, going eastbound, when you pass TFC, I was like, I want to play there one day. Right when it came in 07, I don't want to get wheels going about traffic. But you look at those places and you get to play that. There's only this competition. Or when in 2022, when York United lost to Vancouver Whitecaps, but you got to play in that stadium and feel that environment. This is what you think about when you retire. These are the moments where you're like, oh, we should have tweaked this. We should have done that different. You think so much about these moments and these games and about how it's the games that you normally play. All the times when you're with a normal league and you're playing these teams 4 times, whatever it might be, this is when you should be your best self. So this competition is so important. We talk about just having a league and a country where the environment comes together. These are those moments where it comes to the forefront.
I feel like they deliver some patriotic message every year. And why not again this year?
Do it.
This is our tournament. The Voyagers Cup is the trophy for Canadian fans from coast to coast to coast. This tournament gives Canadian club teams, Canadian players, Canadian coaches, Canadian personnel something to root for. It creates rivalries. It creates some fantastic memories as well. And we went through some barren years where the tournament wasn't televised, wasn't taken seriously. I feel like things are progressing nicely. Not only the tournament expanding, teams taking it more seriously. You saw the bracket that was put up just a moment ago. The fact that there's home and away fixtures now in the quarterfinal and semifinal legs, that's huge. So the home fans get to taste and experience it. It's not just one market. The FA Cup in the UK are getting rid of that. I think that could be the replays, could be a huge loss for that tournament because you want to live, feel, and breathe it within your own market as well. And then on the other side of that bracket that we just saw, it's another pathway into the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Yeah. And every single Canadian team wants a piece of that tournament. So let the games begin.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you know what? Cavalry just had a taste of that as well this year. They got through as the regular season champions. Wouldn't it be nice if they could get through as the champions here of the nation? And they have some history, not just in this tournament, but against the Vancouver Whitecaps. So 2019, they became the first CPL side to defeat an MLS side at a 2-legged affair. So they did that. Then they ended up losing to Pacific in the quarterfinals. Once again, lost to the Whitecaps caps and penalties in 2022.
Should have won that game.
That was a close one. That was when Tommy Wheeldon Jr. was a little cheeky and said, well, technically we still haven't lost to an MLS side. They had to take us down in PKs, not in regulation. But yes, last year was the first time they exited as early as they did, the preliminary round. The winner of this match here tonight gets to face the Vancouver Whitecaps. Jordo, what would that mean to Cavalry to get that rematch?
Oh, it's everything. I think Wheels and I were talking off camera. In 2019, that was probably the best Cavalry side that we've seen. But I would say this 2024 is right there, right under. On paper, they need to go out in short. But you're waiting for that CPL team to go and take an MLS team in a series. And I think that this could be the time where Cavalry can get by Vancouver, beat them at home. They fancy their chances against an MLS side, Wheels.
Dominic Dominance, Tommy Wheeldon Jr. still talks to me about that call. And what a moment. Those uniforms, by the way, were great too.
Clean.
Yeah, I mean, big opportunity. The thing is, for Cavalry, they believe that they have what it takes to go on and compete against those teams. The only way to do that, need to get past Vancouver, who, if they win, you get that first Metro Vancouver rivalry. You get that started. Sean Hundle doesn't play for Vancouver FC anymore, but he said, the brand Vancouver FC, we're coming after you, Whitecaps. So either way, it's going to be a compelling quarterfinal tie. Stakes are big for both teams involved tonight.
Well, so far in the 2 games that they've played in the Canadian Premier League, Cavalry with a draw and a loss. Here's the starting 11 that Tommy Wheeldon Jr. is opting to go with. So a lot of the familiar faces right here. Washevsky, they're going to be relying on him quite a bit to get some goals. Ali Musi, let's see if this is a game where he can kickstart his season. Cavalry head coach Tommy Wheeldon Jr. joining me now. And Tommy, you know, your team has already been through a cup competition this year, CONCACAF Champions Cup against Orlando. Do you feel that gives you any kind of advantage here tonight?
Not really, because we didn't win. We didn't win any of the ties. So I think for us this is a great opportunity that shouldn't need any motivation, because we love the experience of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It was great to be able to play against the American MLS side. We know what's in store for the winner of this round, so it shouldn't make too much of a motivation for us, and one that we want to be in the round for the next game.
Well, here you are at home, opening things up for the first time this season. It happens to be with the national game. How does it feel to be back home?
Yeah, do you know, that's the big thing for us, Andy, is we've missed our fans. You know, unfortunately, due to the weather, we didn't get to play our CONCACAF Champions Cup here. So to see our fans again, to be back at Spruce, it is actually, even though my hair is blowing everywhere, it's actually a nice day here today. It's about 17 degrees. So I think all those things make for an exciting moment for us. And I think it's good for the players returning from last year's squad to the new players that are part of this group to feel the experience of our fans. And I think there's nothing like it here in Canada with what we have here at Spruce Meadows.
Tommy, I just thought you were walking around with your own wind machine. That's just what we were told. Maybe the rumor isn't true. But thanks so much for taking the time.
Yes. Thanks, Andy.
I think he was laughing as hard as he was because he was busted.
That was a good one.
Busted. Sometimes I come out with some good stuff. Let's talk about some of the players in his lineup. How about Lucas Diaz?
Yeah, winds of change in the Cavalry starting 11 today. Change of formation, and that means Lucas Diaz is going to come in and make his first Cavalry start since coming over to Cavalry on loan from Sporting Lisbon. A young player, just 21 years of age, looking for an opportunity to establish himself in a professional first team. This is a big moment. I liked his cameo appearance, his first for Cavalry last weekend in Ottawa. Yeah. I thought he changed the game. Just the way that he strikes the ball, like he looks like he could be the real deal. But when you're that young, you just need to take the opportunity when it presents itself. So he's in for Camargo here today. Yeah, all eyes will be on him.
Absolutely, he has potential. But for me, there's someone that I have to focus on, and that's 2023 Player of the year. Player. This is for Andy Ray. Player. Ali Musi, this is step up big tonight. This is that moment. Look, everyone freaks out a little bit when you play 2 games and you only have a draw and you get 1 point and you won the league last year by 13. But this is a guy that the success of Cavalry is on his shoulders when he is the guy to just do the things that he does, which is relieve pressure, score goals, get into those pockets, strike, assist. All that needs to be at the forefront tonight. Everyone's talking about Vancouver FC, but I think there's one man on the pitch that could just put that to bed real quick.
I don't think anyone panics about the results, but do you know what happens? you don't get talked about.
Yeah.
People are talking about different teams in the Canadian Premier League, including the team that they're playing tonight.
Yeah, Vancouver off to a great start, 2-0 to begin this season. Everyone's saying, last year, obviously, their inaugural year, they feel like they've had a complete preseason, and so far, it's showing for them. And why would Afshin Ghotbi change his lineup? Guys, he's once again going with the same starting 11. This is the team that has gotten him the 2 wins so far this year, and this is the team he's hoping will get a great start for them here in the Canadian Championship. Afshin Ghotbi joining us now, head coach of Vancouver FC. And you know what, Afshin? It has been a great start so far for your team this season. Are you treating tonight's game like any other match, or does it feel different?
Well, I think every game is special for me, as we always talk to our players that you only have so many games that in your career you can play in, so you must appreciate every kick and every start and every half and every game. So I think this game for us is special because we are really looking forward to doing something special, not only in the league but also in the Canadian Championship.
It's definitely a special night. The fans are feeling it. And you know what else is special is this partnership that we're seeing between Diaz and Moses Dyer. What do you think is working between those two players?
I think that they have different profiles, and they are both winners. They both are goal scorers, but with different styles. And I think the way we try to train with them and use them in the tactical organization, I think we found the right way of utilizing their strengths. But I think if you look through the field, we have great partnerships everywhere. You see the partnership between Rocco and David Norman, the partnership between Vasco and Renan, the partnership we see on the side channels between Chung and also with Ben Fisk, and same thing on the left side. So we've tried to create those partnerships from day one in the preseason.
And so far it's working. Afshin, appreciate you taking the time. Good luck tonight.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Got my own great partnership right here.
Look at his haircut.
He did.
You have the greatest hair on the planet. Why don't you touch that? That's a crime.
I mean, he had to cut it a little bit. It'll grow back.
Is this we're going to talk Tommy's hair? No, we're not.
Wheels is genuinely
He is so upset about the haircut. How about Ben Fisk?
This is a big day for him. You're playing your old team. You never want to lose against the team that you were just with. All the friends that you know, they're talking about. This 31-year-old needs to step up for the squad tonight. But also, he gets to add a bonus if he wins. He's playing the first team that he played with, Vancouver Whitecaps, the U23. So going back there would be a special moment. But he's a leader on the squad. He's a guy that will just come with the passes that are needed and the crosses. But it's just about that energy. He knows this field well, Spruce Meadows. He just needs to be a best version of himself tonight.
One of 5 former Cavalry players in the Vancouver side. And I think that experience and that pedigree is paying off. The Eagles have landed. That's what that's what
Word
they're
on the
saying.
street. Yeah.
The Eagles have landed. But look, I think it's landing a player like Moses Dyer that's had the biggest impact on this Vancouver FC team. First of all, I love teams that play 2 strikers up top. He's a completely different profile, as Afshin said, than Wero Diaz, but what a complimentary piece. Like, this guy puts in the hard work.
Yeah.
He's a physical beast on the field. He just adds a completely other element to this team. And look, he spent a lot of time with Valor losing to Cavalry. Tonight he's on a team and in a different type of context where his team has a chance to do some damage here tonight. So the double D combination, Dyer and Diaz, they've been excellent out of the gate. And I think that this is just the beginning.
Yeah, and it's also a valid point about even though this is their second year in the Canadian Championship, they do have players from Cavalry who have that experience. So the experience is there for them. We'll see if we get, would you call it an upset if Vancouver wins?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, this is why. This game is very intriguing. You know what else is intriguing? We get to see the Canadian women before they go to Paris to defend their gold medal at the Olympics. This was just announced today that they will have a summer send-off series here. They're taking on Mexico June 1st. That game will be in Montreal, followed by the game June 4th in Toronto. Bev Priestman continuing to put the pieces together on the best squad possible that she can take to Paris to defend that Olympic gold. We're going to have some fun when we return here and continue our coverage, getting you ready for the first game of the 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship. We're going to pick who we think is going to win Golden Boot, MVP, Best Young Player. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to win, but I still want to hear who you're going to pick. Stay tuned for that.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Sentinel Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
The TELUS Canadian Championship for 2024 kicks off out west in Calgary, Alberta. Cavalry for the first time this season at home, and they welcome Vancouver FC. Let's begin the journey towards the Voyagers Cup. Andy, Gareth, Jordo with you. Now, here's the thing. There's going to be a reseeding after the semifinals, so we're not going to go bracket to bracket, but we're going to give the big predictions. Jordo, I start with you because you're going to give me who's going to win, tournament MVP, best Canadian player, Golden Boot.
And you said you're going to win.
Yes, but you know what? I'm going to be, just let's say your names, just because, you know.
Okay.
Nice.
Who I think will win the Voyagers Cup in 2024, I think this is a unanimous pick. Vancouver Whitecaps, they're going for the trouble. This is the best team. I think they have the most depth. They take this competition the most serious, and they are perennial contenders at this point in time. Ryan Gauld, dangerous man on the ball. He is my MVP, without a shadow of a doubt. Dangerous player, loves to get in the pocket. I think that he's going to step up big this tournament. My best young Canadian player, and I was surprised that he's only 22, and his time in the CPL, he was 19. Great goalkeeper, Jonathan Sirois. I'm going to give an honorable mention. I think Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy could have a nice tournament as well, the 19-year-old. But who I think is going to take the cake is CF Montreal's Jonathan Sirois. Brian White, still haven't forgiven him for scoring 2 goals on York United in the semifinal.
Your fault.
Bullied me on the second one.
No. Oh, no.
I don't think Dominic Zator should have stepped out. Christopher Ensa was also sleeping. I watched back this morning when I was having my cereal.
Doesn't bother you at all.
It still hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
However, dangerous striker. He shows up big for Vancouver Whitecaps. I think that he'll be a Golden Boot.
All right. Wheels, challenge.
I knew which direction both of you two would go.
You know me.
So I chose a different lane.
Okay.
The
Than
wrong
you.
lane.
I don't need to go chalk. What about CF Montreal? This is a really good team. It's very difficult to three-peat in this competition. And Vanni Sartini, this is a message to you. I love you, my brother. But you can't come out ahead of a tournament and say we're better than the rest of these Joe Schmoes across this country. That's bulletin board material right there. I think CF Montreal is very good. They have a difficult path because they could potentially play Forge in that quarterfinal round if Forge gets past York United. So I'm going to pick CF Montreal to go and win it. How about their best player, Mathieu Chouanière, as the tournament MVP? He's going to have to be the engine. He's Canadian. I think that there's a lot of things that play in his favor, especially when Kokoro and Martinez right now are hurt. Both of those players are injured. That means there's going to be opportunity. Jules-Anthony Vilsaint, he is my best young Canadian player, 21 years old, played 2 games before going down with a knee injury this year, already has a goal in Major League Soccer.
Top baller.
He could be a focal point of this team without those aforementioned players available, at least for these early stages as this tournament will drag on. But I'll go for the Golden Boot. I need to pick a penalty taker on a team that's going to go deep. I think it's going to be a rematch. Whitecaps, CF Montreal in the final. And Ryan Gauld, because he takes penalties, he can get up there and score goals as well. I think he'll lead the way for Vancouver and take that award.
Solid pick.
By the way, I was thinking about Sirois, but I don't think that he'll necessarily play. I think Courtois could rotate, and Breza could be in there playing goalkeeper as well. I didn't mind the Sirois shout, but I don't know if he's going to start in this competition.
Fair point.
It's nice to spread the wealth. I'm going down with this ship if it goes down.
Whoa!
Because everything is Vancouver Whitecaps for me.
West Coast.
I think they get the triple threat. I think Brian White is the tournament MVP, and I'm going to give him the Golden Boot as well. He's already off to a great start this season, scoring goals. I just don't see that drying up. Why would it? And for another year in a row, why would Ali Ahmed not be the best young Canadian player? He, too, is off to a great start. This is it. All my eggs are in one basket. That's it.
Strong.
Whitecaps, it's me and you. It is me and you, baby.
And you and everyone else.
Yeah, and well,
way to live
I think a lot of
dangerously,
people are
guys.
choosing that.
Way to make a bold prediction.
No, not bold.
It's not bold. It's smart.
Going with
it's
the heart.
a smart prediction. And well, how about we have a little bit of a bold prediction here? Because one thing about these tournaments, again, where you have like these lower seeded teams, right? Your League One teams, obviously CPL, MLS, they're all coming together. You're bound to see an upset because it goes without saying. Everyone's always going to say the MLS side's going to win. Then people are always going to say, well, the CPL side's going to beat the League One side, although we saw that upset, of course, with TSS Rovers over Valor. So let's talk some upsets. Why don't you make a bold prediction of, who do you think could be or provide the biggest upset?
Don't know if I can. To be honest with you, I don't know if I can. Toronto FC is clearly the most vulnerable of the 3 MLS teams. I think that John Herdman and his coaching staff are doing a nice job. They're committed. They're playing with heart. They're very well organized. It's just the injuries right now, Andy. Mm-hmm. How are you going to be able to balance this competition with MLS games? Well, how committed are you to playing your regulars in this competition versus younger players? And I don't know if they're discernibly better than the teams are going to be playing against. The problem is Halifax out of the gate has me hesitating a little bit. I think they've been a little bit inconsistent. I don't know if they have that proven goal scorer. I need to see more from Halifax to make me confident that if and when they're playing home and away to Toronto FC, that they have enough to get past them. And I'm not sure right now.
My friend here, Wheels, is talking about Halifax, and I'm very interested in this Halifax CS Saint Laurent match. Ligue 1 Quebec or League 1 Quebec side.
Think they could pull a TSS Rovers?
Honestly, last season, I watched the game with you, Trails. I was like, TSS Rovers, Wheels, you're looking at the game as well. You're like, you always see these sides, semi-pro sides, they're like, maybe they have a good start, but they don't have the legs. They were committed. If Saint Laurent have a little bit of that for 70 minutes, look, you're going 20 minutes extra, going to 9 minutes, then you're going to pen. Anything can happen. This is not a slate on the Halifax Wanderers side. I think they're a good side. Wheels brings up a point about scoring, but I just think there could be an upset right there with that matchup.
I will say it's different than last year because TSS Rovers played at Swangard Stadium against Valor very early in the season, playing in a different environment. Halifax at home, that's going to be a tough one for them.
Well, it's Cavalry Vancouver kicking things off tonight. And then tomorrow, as you mentioned, we are going to see Toronto FC in action against Simcoe. Be sure to join us 7 p.m. Eastern to get you set up for that one. Toronto, of course, looking to once again hoist that Voyagers Cup, something that they were accustomed to doing. But then the last few years, it has been CF Montreal. And then in the last 2, it's been the Vancouver Whitecaps. We are getting closer to kickoff here. The fans are ready. The first time they're seeing their side at ATCO Field all season long. They are ready to welcome Cavalry as they take on Vancouver right here on One Soccer.
Would you like the extended warranty for $150?
Go ad-free for $29.99.
Only 3 easy payments of $49.99 if you act now.
We make thousands of financial decisions every day. Each one affects bigger decisions tomorrow. Stay on top of it all with the CIBC Smart Account.
Do we really have any choice at all? Everyone has a choice, and every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
None. Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Sentinel Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
Gatorade. With electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat. Carbs to help fuel your working muscles. And fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
How do you go from the best to the ultimate without breaking the bank? You choose the big, bold, ultimate taste of ultimate chicken sausages and hot dogs. Choose ultimate taste and value, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
The 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship is right here on One Soccer. Shortly, we'll be heading inside that stadium right there. It is Cavalry hosting Vancouver FC. Andy Wheels Jordo, quickly give me a prediction.
Cavalry to win. Unfortunately, in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, they couldn't play in their own field. So this is their first game on their home field, a place where they were 10 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss to the regular season last year. Vancouver FC, the worst team away from home last season, only 3 wins away from Langley. So this is a true litmus test type of game. How new, how fresh is this Vancouver FC side? I like them. You and I were on them early, but this might be a step too much for this early stage of the campaign.
1-1. Prediction. We're going into pens. Those of you at home, make sure you have your coffee on standby. You're going to have a little penalty shootout at the end of the whistle. I think it's going to be a close and tight game. Andy Petrillo.
Straight to pens. That's what happens here in the Canadian Championship if it is still tied at the end of regulation. Here we go. These are the two teams kicking off the 17th edition, making their way, hopefully, to the final 2 to lift the Voyagers Cup. Enjoy the match. We'll see you at halftime right here on One Soccer.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by Toyota.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada because this journey belongs to everyone.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by CIBC.
CanadaSoccerStore.com is the official home for the widest range of Canada Soccer licensed product, match jerseys, and fanwear.
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
The TELUS Canadian Championship on One Soccer is brought to you by Allstate.
Greetings from stunning Alberta, where we're all set to kick off the 2024 Battle of the North. Nigel Reid in the booth alongside One soccer analyst Oliver Platt as Canadian Premier League rivals Cavalry FC and Vancouver FC go head-to-head in the opening tie of the 2024 TELUS Canadian Championship. The Cavs, aiming for their first win of the season, have home advantage over the Eagles, who've made a flying start to their campaign. This is one-and-done soccer. It has to be settled here tonight, even if it takes a penalty shootout to decide it. Weather is beautiful in Cavalry, sun-cloud mix and 15 Celsius as the teams line up for the singing of the Canadian National Anthem.
And now, please rise for the National Anthem of Canada.
Fourteen teams competing for the Voyager's Cup in 2024. This the first of 6 preliminary round ties. There are more to come tomorrow. More about that in due course.